Let's welcome in now Robert. He is Bob Hosta Collection on Instagram. Robert, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. I think this is my third time on the show, so it's kind of a fun to be a repeated guest.
Yeah, you're definitely one of the crowd's favorites. So thanks for doing this. If you would just share your card. What are you talking about today?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sharing my 1951 Topps Redback of Monte Irvin. So it's his rookie year, and I actually bought this card raw, so it fit under the $10 threshold. I bought it about 5, 6 years ago.
Do you remember exactly how much it cost?
I looked it up on in my ComC account. I paid exactly $3 for that card raw.
That's incredible. What inspired you to put that into your ComC box and then eventually just pay for it?
So at the time, I was really focused on just collecting Hall of Fame rookie cards. So I'd kind of search the Hall of Fame rookies almost every day on ComC. And that one popped up for $3. And it's not in the world's greatest shape by any means, but it's hard to not buy a Hall of Famer card from the 50s for $3, let alone a rookie card from that era as well.
That's incredible. I'm looking at this card and I cannot believe this card cost just $3, even for when you bought it a while back. That seems like it was really underpriced.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it is pretty creased. Like, I don't know if the scan shows it as well, but looking at it in hand, like it does have some significant creasing, but luckily all of them miss his face. And they're more wrinkles than actual breaks in the color, I guess.
So what place does this card have in your collection now? When you look at it, is it just like, okay, there's another Hall of Fame rookie card I have, or do you actually think about like when you got it and what it means to your collection?
Yeah, it's one of those cards that's like probably the best deal I've gotten on anything as far as a card goes. And it's not like it's particularly valuable now. I think I looked up what you could buy a one today for, and maybe in the $50, $60 range. It's not crazy, but it's kind of a cool card that it's, that first top set, which I always like having different representation of cards. And recently I was going through this exercise in my collection that I noticed Contrarian Cards was doing, where he put out what he likes, his favorite cards, not just the most valuable. And this one kept finding its way into the top 10, top 15, no matter how I sliced it. I just think it's such a cool looking card. Most cards from that era are like artist renditions. And this is actually a photograph with some artistic design around it. And I just think that kind of stands out in that era of those early cards that it is a photograph.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because when I think of Monte Irvin cards anyway, I think of the 52 Topps, right?
Yeah.
Which, of course, artist rendition, and then Topps doesn't have photos again until 57, I believe. And they kind of work it into the 56, but really it's 57 where they went full photo. So were you specifically looking for the 51, or was it just there as you were scrolling ComC?
It really was just there. Like I think at the time I thought I wanted the Bowman. I love the early Bowman cards. I think that artist's work is just incredible. But it's one of those things where for the price, I couldn't pass it up. And for a long time, I considered owning both. And as I've owned this card more and more, I've just enjoyed it more and more. I think I've posted it 4 times on my account, actually, because I just like the cards so much. And recently I just got it graded, so it was like a whole nother opportunity to share it. So that was.
So it's interesting. So for people, if you haven't, check out Robert's Instagram account, Bob Hosta Collection. You've been doing this fascinating thing now for a while now, right? Where you're trying to collect certain iconic cards or historic cards or cards that mean something to you, but you could care less about the grade. Like, you want the example to be nice enough that you enjoy looking at it. But if you wouldn't mind, talk a little bit about what you've been trying to do with some of the cards that you've been sharing lately.
Yeah, so I kind of call it like an entry level into the iconic space, where right now I think it's pretty clear that great eye appeal cards have just exploded in value to the point where they're almost for me, they're unattainable for the amount of cards that I want. I kind of have an end goal of what I want my collection to look like, and I would never accomplish it. So owning an example, for me, is enough. And it's one of those things where, like, I don't think I would get an excessive amount of enjoyment out of, say, that Monte Irvin card if it was a 7. I enjoy this one enough, especially for the price. Even if I had to buy it today, I still would, because and that's with a lot of the cards I own, is I found that I can enjoy them just owning a copy, as simple as that sounds.
I'm almost thinking about your collection now in 4 different buckets, or how you want to acquire cards in 4 buckets. There's what Robert wants, there's what the card is, there's what the card costs, there's what the card is graded, and none of them really overlap into the other, right? Like where you just want a representation of the card, and if it's a 1, fantastic, as long as you enjoy it. Mm-hmm. How did you reach this point in your collecting?
I think it took a while to not be so obsessed with condition. And I think for a long time, I never understood the PSA 10 premium over the 9. That kind of where it started. I couldn't understand it because I'm like, they look the same, but they're 5 to 10 times more valuable. I don't get it. So then as as you move back further into vintage, I kind of started noticing that like the grade doesn't seem to matter with how the card looks. And like a 3 it wasn't as exciting as even just a 1 when it's, 4 or 5 times more valuable. And it's kind of, I've always been value driven, and I've had a hard time spending high dollar amounts on cards. So that having it, just an example, made sense to me a long time ago. And now that I've gotten more comfortable spending more, it's same principle of just get a copy in regardless of the condition, as long as it's not too shredded. And even then, sometimes the really shredded cards tell a story that you can't get from a pristine copy.
Right. So I don't know if you follow the account Pictures of Cardboard, but he does a wonderful job with some of the most dilapidated, destroyed cards, but he just brings them to life through photography and lets you know that those cards are still there, and they still exist, and they still have.
Yeah, his set builds are really cool.
Yeah,
that builds, like when he flips through that binder, I would just suggest anyone to go check out his account. Some of those binder flips, like that is cooler looking than a high grade set.
I'm thinking now too of Dave Spinrad, Rated Rabbi. He has a card. It's somewhere between a 69 and a 71 Roberto Clemente. But at one point he had it in a 5, and then found a better example in a 4. So he got rid of the 5. Then he found a better example in a 3. So he got rid of the 4. And he's just working his way down, trying to find the best possible example in the lowest grade possible. That's fascinating. What do you think of that approach?
Yeah, I love that. Like, especially if you can find that and then, fund something else you might want, is kind of an exciting idea, right? Because again, you're not getting enough enjoyment out of, I guess, the higher grade. If you get the same amount of enjoyment of a lower grade, why would you pay up for it? Especially if it's not like we'll call it investment grade copy of some sort, right? It's not going to be something people sought for on the registry. So I think that's a really, really interesting, his collection is really interesting. Him and I have kind of bonded over our love of the Christy Mathewson T205 and things like that. So
what do you think? So I want to go back to this card a little bit, and we have it on screen here for people who are watching this. If somebody is listening at home, how would you describe first sort of what this card is and what it generally looks like, and then explain your copy specifically, if you would?
So in general, it's kind of an odd size. It's kind of, I think, what stands out the most. I don't think there's any cards of this time period that are this kind of proportions. It's squared almost like the 39 play ball, but narrower, rounded corners. And then it has these like perforations where they were sold as 2 cards. And I think you had to rip them apart. So they're kind of a game card. It's a game back. It looks like a playing card on the back. And it's just, they're different. If you've never seen them, they really pop in hand. I think it's the color blocking and then the black and white photo. They're just an odd, there's nothing like them is the best way I think I can describe that card. And for me, I always like, just Monte Irvin's an interesting case, as he's someone who generally disliked Jackie Robinson in a weird thing. So he felt that he was a better player and he deserved to break the color barrier, not Jackie, purely on talent alone. And I've always found his story fascinating for that reason.
It's so interesting. And his cards, he has really excellent looking cards, even beyond this one. He is something about the way that Topps and others made his cards that just really pop in a way that not all of them did. And I don't know if that's a testament to him or if it's a testament to him working with the photographer or the artist, but there's something about his photos and his images that seem to really resonate with collectors.
I've always felt that it's a shame that his teammate Willie Mays didn't get the same type of photos on cards, because I think a lot of Willie's cards have horrible photos. They just look awful.
Mm-hmm.
And Monte didn't get that, and they were teammates. So it's like you could just switch the faces, same poses, and you'd have way nicer of a catalog for Willie in a way.
It's the vintage version of what's happening now with Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts, right? Like Bryce Harper has card after card that is just a banger. And these cards of Mookie come out, and the reaction from the public is, really? You did this to him again? There's something about it. And I don't think it's intentional.
No.
But it just sort of happens with certain players. I'm going to talk about this 51 set as well, because if you go back and you go back and read about 51 Topps, after this, they decided to then pivot and to become the Topps that we know today. What is your view of the 51 Topps, the Redbacks, and what they were trying to do with this set?
I think they were trying to, at the time, really just be something different than Bowman. Bowman, I think, at the time, is what we'd expect as a normal baseball card, like, story on the back. I don't think they had any stats, but kind of a biography. And I think here they were trying to capture the market of cards as toys in a way. Like you see here the old stories of the cards on bike spokes and the games where you throw them against the wall and things like that, right? Where cards were just toys to play games with. And I think they're trying to capitalize on that. I don't think it worked per se. And it's interesting that collectors haven't fallen in love with this set either, right? It's one of the probably the more affordable issues of the era, full of Hall of Famers, but it doesn't seem to click with a lot of people.
All right. So last question here as you let you go. You got this off ComC for $3. What if somebody just waltzed up to you right now and said, hey, I'll pay you $50 for that? What would your reaction be?
I don't think I could. I think this card has a fun story. I think the card has a fun story. It's one of those ones where it's part of my first ever grading order. And it's something that it kind of is a part of my collection where it was a piece of it before I really pivoted into buying higher end cards. And it was one of the kind of premier cards that I owned in that time frame of my collecting. So it's hard to get rid of something that, yes, you could just buy it back, but it wouldn't be the copy that I really have always enjoyed.
It's the difference between a copy and the copy.
Exactly.
Robert, at Bob Hosta Collection on Instagram, thank you for sharing your card with us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Dave.